Hi, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 18th, 2025, 11:04 Eastern Standard Time. This is the Kubeflow community meeting. Thank you all for joining. So before we get started, or actually as we get started, does anybody want to introduce themselves? Say hi if you're new. Yeah. Yeah, hey, Jared.
Hey, I'm new. My name's Jared. I'm based in Ireland. I had to look out the window there to make sure. So I'm new. This is my first call. I'm just sort of looking around and very much in listening mode at the moment, and hoping that over time there might be somewhere that I can carry some water or chop some wood or whatever.
Awesome, Gerard. Well, welcome to the Keyflow community. We're really excited to have you.
Just like wondering, for instance, before we move on, like, Jared, did you use Kubeflow before? Or just try to see, like, investigate different projects here. Just exploring.
A little bit. I wouldn't consider myself a data scientist, but just deployed some things on Kubernetes, and
you haven't used Kubeflow projects before, right?
A little bit.
All right.
So I work with some of the people here at Red Hat, so I've interacted with some of the projects, but I wouldn't consider myself somebody who uses them very often.
Yeah, makes sense. Welcome.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks.
Welcome. Anybody else want to introduce themselves? Cool. And if anybody else just wants to say hi, you can also just swing on by. So before I get to that, I'm going to pull up the notes, share my screen, and then read the CNCF Code of Conduct, just as good proper decorum. Let's please demonstrate empathy and kindness towards others. Be respectful of differing opinions, viewpoints, and experiences. Be graceful in accepting feedback. Accept responsibility and apologize to those affected by our mistakes and learn from our experiences. Focus on what's best for everybody and not just for us individuals, but the overall community. And please use welcoming and inclusive language. We're all, doing this as help. So we're all working together. Cool. So let's jump right to it, folks. Eder, you wanted to talk about the next steps for proposal for ML Experience Working Group, aka the IDE Working Group.
Yes. Good
Did you
morning.
want
Good afternoon,
to
everyone.
talk to this? Do you want to share your screen, or do you want me to share your screen? Or
No, yeah, no. It's well, I don't think it's just a follow up. I think it's basically what we discussed in the last meeting. Just that Andre suggested for us to do a rename or become ML Experience Working Group. That's much more a cooler name, to be honest. And I'd like to discuss with the community what to be the next steps. My suggestion would be to submit a working group proposal via pull request, or if someone has any comments or objections, just let me know, and then I can do another round. Or is mostly what are the next steps for me to submit the working group?
yeah, I think you can just submit a PR with the proposal then. Andre, any other thoughts there?
Yeah, I think Josh, I think we started recording, right, Francisco?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so I guess like we just want to hear feedback from the community on the proposal on the charter. Any kind of, small questions you want to ask right now for this initiative from the community? I think just to give it a goal, this working group was designed to see how we can improve the ML engineer and data scientist user experience by using the Kubeflow tools. So starting with all the tools around the Jupyter extensions, make it sure like, you can have better observability and, like ability to use the Kubeflow APIs. And also other things around, this Kubeflow SDK initiatives that we started a couple of weeks ago, and other topics around like improving, overall experience, user experience. Maybe any questions from the community, or we can discuss it offline and the proposal for the charter and the scope. Right then, I guess like we probably just in terms of timeline, we will wait for a few weeks for community to comment on this proposal on the charter. I think we should work on improving the charter, and especially see how we can define ownership, right, for the projects.
Yep.
So yeah, from my perspective, probably like we should first of all establish the working group and then discuss, some projects, adoption, and other things, right, moving forward. Because I guess like it will require a few topics to talk about moving forward, right?
Yeah, exactly. I see, but I expect to do this conversation in the first meeting of the working group. I think there is 3 threads that is the sub working groups and in the new keep process that could be the SDK that you started. The another one is the one to figure out the replacement of the Lara and talk with the Jupyter and the Lara community if we can do a solution together. And the third one is regarding Kale. So there is three threads that we can start in the working group.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Any other questions?
Cool. Well, we should call it the MLX working group.
Yeah, I think the kind of like, yeah, that might be the only thing maybe we can discuss offline, but I would love to like understand how this working will influence the experience for other projects, right? Because so they have a lot of UIs, right, for different components, right? So the question where should leave the set of standards, right?
You mean about the usability and to have the work that I'm doing in some projects, right? This is what you mean.
Yeah, probably like because
Yeah.
KFP has also its own UI, right? Which
Yep.
probably needs to be adopted, like, and improved, right?
I didn't put this on the working group charter in the beginning just because I have the feeling that we have too many more urgent moving balls right now. But
Yeah.
definitely this is something that I would include because this is a topic that I'm passionate about and I'm working together with the model registry and notebook 2.0 right now. So
Yeah.
if you can spend for the other work groups when you can please click on the document again,
Yeah, that makes
the
sense.
proposal, Francisco, just quickly.
Yeah.
If you go on the second topic, like when you talk about number 2, when you're talking about reusability of UI components, we can expand here. They start after have the usability starting by to have it in Jupyter with the version of Lara to have the same visualization of the pipelines, but also to revamp our discussion to have a unification of the Y and the work that I did with some UX to have the same user experience across multiple projects.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Or we can add a 4th point here to talk specifically about usability.
Let's definitely talk about offline. I think it's kind of a hard question because like there is a different set of personas, right? And
Yeah.
some folks just want to work in Jupyter, some folks want to have more visibility around what's happening in their platform, around like, all this ML jobs, right? And the pipelines. Yeah, I think there are many things to talk about. Let's definitely follow up, not on this call. But yeah, I think it's a great start.
But it's definitely a
Yes.
topic that I like to push. As I talk since I joined the community, and I'm passionate about user experience, and having a unified user experience in the product is something that I want.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Eder. Okay. So Matthew, he wanted to call out I'm away, but I've raised a critical proposal about Kubeflow's future. The gist of the proposal is we should not have an official production deployment method for Kubeflow platform. Read the proposal here. Because it's so important, I'm going to link to it here. Wow, that's actually longer than I thought, so I'm not going to read it here. Yeah, this is discussing Kubeflow distribution. So I invite everybody to review it, read it, share your feedback. The Kubeflow steering committee is, reviewing it and discussing it as well. We'll come back in probably the next couple of weeks with our opinion and feedback about what we think. We're trying to make sure we review this thoughtfully, but we definitely invite a lot of community feedback. I think our North Star is that we want more people to use Kubeflow and to feel successful in using Kubeflow. And so What that looks like might differ to different people, and so we want to be cognizant of that, but we also want to be, very open and supportive. So yes, please feel free to review Matthew's issue, and then we can kind of discuss async. Yeah, Heather.
Yeah, it's just a small comment on that. People are discussing that I saw that about the wording, about what production means. But I think one thing that we need to address in the community is that the getting started experience for a user is super hard.
Yeah.
And I think Helm charts would gonna help on this. I don't know if you should call production or not. I don't want to enter in this endeavor, but I think we should improve, as you mentioned, the first user experience and how to install Kubeflow, either on if I have an AWS account or if I have an OpenShift account or if I have a kind cluster. How do I run a single command and I'm able to install, because then I appreciate all the work that Manifest team does on the installation. It works pretty well, but requires a lot of the Kubernetes knowledge to understand that this is working.
Yeah.
And this is a cumbersome experience, especially for people that are data science trying to try out our platform.
Yeah, and I mean they just don't do it.
Yep.
Is the reality there, and that's like a critical flaw. That's one of the reasons why with the Kubeflow SDK, I'm advocating for kind of like a native local mode for every kind of component. That's what most of the other industry providers do. It's what Feast does. It's not trivial. It's a lot of work to get there, but I think it is important for the right developer experience. People want pip install and it works, for better or worse. And so I think like,
Yep.
yeah.
Because in an ideal scenario, imagine that someday we have the Kubeflow SDK and we have a data scientist interested in the Kubeflow SDK. How the data science will do a quick tryout in order to advocate for the Kubeflow into their company.
Oh, right. It's just a massive amount of friction.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So yeah, please feel free to review the community issue, and please feel free to share your comments, feedback. Again, I really, really appreciate it, Edgar, and everybody else.
Yeah, so just before we move on, I just want to add one point. Yes, as Francisco said, we're trying to discuss this with other steering committee members to see how we can make it clear. But I think more importantly, we try to see how we can simplify the Kubeflow MVP installation to remove unnecessary dependencies. Like I already created this issue to remove Serve Manager as a dependency. Also, we kind of have a proposal to remove Knative from dependency, and also Istio, probably. Like Istio, I'm not sure because we're using Istio Gateway today, but we try to see how to provide this kind of MVP for folks to try out via Kubeflow/manifest. It could be using Helm charts, it could be using Customize, but it is important to understand for everyone in the community that Helm charts won't simplify Kubeflow installation. Removing the parts of Kubeflow control plane will simplify installation to addressing the feedback we're actually getting from end users a while ago, but we didn't really put a lot of attention on these kind of topics and discussions. Because our goal is to provide kind of, ability for distributions and users to customize installation, to plug in their own auth, their own multi-tenancy, and make it super easy to install, whether it's on local kind cluster or on any kind of public cloud or on-prem, right? Initially, at least. Yeah, so if you want to help us, let me know. There are definitely like few tasks and discussions we should have to simplify this, complexity of Kubeflow. So this is probably where we also should go towards too, especially given the discussion on conformance, right? Because the question like how we can build a conformance, we probably cannot build a conformance until we simplify the installation, right? For the tools we're using within Kubeflow ecosystem. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. So, Andre, did you want to kick us off here?
Yeah, a few topics to talk about. Do we have anything else? I saw like Valentina has a topic for the website update, but do you want to talk about these 3 topics first?
I'm good. Yeah, I can go after you. It's still good.
Yeah, let me try to do it quickly. So the first one, I just want to hear from the community. What do we think about the Kubeflow website, right? So today we have like these sections around distributions, components, and what is it, the external add-ons, right? So do we want to have a section for Gen AI with Kubeflow? And I mean, I understand like the content of this page should be, like should be, kind of we should think about what we should put in this, this page. But basically, my initial thinking, my initial thought was like maybe we should just say how Kubeflow tools allows you to do Gen AI on Kubernetes, right? And we can just link to other guides, like, how we developed this train API previously to basically streamline this fine tuning. In the future, we can, maybe link to the blueprints for LM they're working on with training working group. I hope like KFP also can do some, I know KFP has some components for Gen AI. I think they're mostly right now from GCP, but think about how we can kind of cross-link these guides for people for especially new people, right? Who just want to understand who just want to see whether Kubeflow can be useful for Gen AI and LLMs, and then guide them to these appropriate guides to move this forward. Yeah, what do you think about it? Like, any thoughts on what you can do there? Um,
It's a landing page for LLM. Go for it, because I just googled LLM in Kubeflow, and our guides are the first link. That's good. So it's a landing page grouping everything together. It will be great. My point of view.
yeah, because I think like if we kind of can be on the search page, on the search space when someone trying to see Gen AI with Kubernetes, for example, right?
Yep, exactly.
So yeah,
And
I think like yeah.
at least to group our tutorials, because I see LM fine tuning with train operator with Kubeflow, and if you can group everything together, it'd be nice.
Yeah, I think, so yeah, my view is 100% on here, and like we should be highlighting all of the core components of Kubeflow, via Kserve, the training operator, pipelines to agree that pipelines make sense, feast for RAG. Obviously that's a contentious one, but I do think that like, and I wrote this in the docs before, right? Most application users want to use RAG. Some want to use fine tuning. There's funnel there. Everyone wants to use inference, right? And it's inference, RAG, fine tuning, probably in that order is is what.
Yeah, so I think the goal of this page is just to see, just to explain to especially new users how Kubeflow components are useful for Gen AI, right? And we can call this page Gen AI on Kubernetes with Kubeflow or something like to make it more useful for folks who maybe never heard about Kubeflow before, right? Yeah, I don't know. I know that's yeah. Go ahead, Brenton.
No, I really like the idea. I think the more, with everything that's going on with AI ML, the more we can make it more clear, and especially with terms that are widely used in the industry, so people can connect and also understand how they can implement it. So talking about the implementations within the AI, I think makes completely sense. So are you thinking also like doing some examples as well?
So yeah, initially I was just thinking to cross-link the guides we already have, right? So on the Gen AI perspective, like we only have, this guide for Katip, I know we have guides for training operator V1, right? That we can cross-link. We probably can cross-link some guides from Kserve because they've done some as well, like investigations for, I think they have some serving runtimes for LLM specific, right? Yeah, but I think the goal is for this page to, put ourselves in a Google search, right? On people Google, like Gen AI on Kubernetes, right? So we can help them as well. And at the same time, explain the new users how Kubeflow tools are useful, right?
Yeah, because it's not only about the product, but it's what you can build with it. And with Gen AI, you're talking about the solutions. I really like that. Yeah, and then we can add more and evolve it. But I think it would be a great start.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm also happy to help out on putting some of this stuff together, Andre.
Yeah, and I think this page initially, I don't think this page should be, like has a lot of information, right?
Yeah, we can link out.
Yeah. Because I think like folks who are aware of Kubeflow for the last 7 years, I think they already know that and tools are capable to do, large scale ML, right?
It's new users. Yeah, I get it.
Yes.
It's very much
Yes.
top of funnel.
That makes sense.
Cool. Andre, did you want to?
Yeah. Any other feedback on this topic, like from the community members? Right. So yeah, another topic like about TorchTune. I think this is pretty exciting. So like just to give you, you know, kind of overview what we try to do. It's part of Kubeflow Trainer V2 work. We try to build the LLM runtimes on Kubernetes, which basically allow you to have a recipe for fine-tuning, like for basically for LLM fine-tuning, because we build this some sort of the template approach for. And actually, can I share my screen, Francisco?
Yeah,
Sorry.
of course, of course, of course.
Just a second. Yeah, so we've been discussing this proposal for quite some time, but the goal was to, as I said, to provide a set of recipes for folks who want to actually use Kubernetes and Kubeflow for fine-tuning, which basically we're kind of like thinking about pre-creating the trainers, the LM trainers, and also the pre-creating the data set initialization for folks. So data scientists can just quickly select the runtime that they want to use to fine-tune all of favorite LLMs. And we as a community planning to support several LLMs within trainer project. And you know allows them to quickly evaluate if you have the available resources. So like we've been discussing different approaches how we can build those kind of LLM trainers, and one of the idea could be to leverage the TorchTune library, which kind of like utility on top of PyTorch APIs, which allows you to use simple CLI to perform fine tuning of many different models that Torch, you know, PyTorch folks support. And we actually planning to have discussions tomorrow on this with some folks from PyTorch community. They're on the call, so it will be on Wednesday tomorrow at 5 p.m. UTC. And I think I don't know if this already been updated, but the goal is to see how we can leverage this TorchTune library together with Trainer, so we don't really need to reinvent the wheel, right? So similar to job sets, we try to see how we can work with the communities to consolidate our effort. So here, like the Kubernetes power allows you to actually use TorchTune on top of multi-node training. Because like if you take almost like any PyTorch tutorial, if they speak about multi-node training, they kind of like tell users to go to the Slurm or using other, cluster technology to do multi-node fine-tuning. But here I think we have a good opportunity to, like build this relationship with them to say like if you have Kubernetes cluster and if you do fine-tuning, you can easily do this using the Kubeflow trainer, right? So I think this is a great initiative. Let's see if we can, move this forward. And tomorrow we have more kind of deep discussions on this topic. All right. Any questions? All right. Yeah, just feel free to take a look on this proposal. This will be a part of the V2 release, I hope so, the first release of V2. So looking forward to see how we can, support more blueprints within Kubeflow ecosystem for LLMs. All right. So next step, yeah, I think so for instance, I think you can share your screen back. I just want to say about the user, right? The end user tab that we discussed with Outreach Working Group.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. Yeah, so for this topic, I think we discussed with KSC like how we can establish this the end user technical advisory board, similar to like what CNCF has today. So the goal of this advisory board is to build some sort of relationship between us as the contributors and end users, to understand their like what are the challenges, how we can work with them to address those challenges, how they use Kubeflow today, what they want community to go. So we really hope that like this advisory board could help us to build some sort of connection, right, with contributors and end users. And what we really need here, and we need someone from the community who can drive it. Because I know Amber is helping us a lot on this, but we need more people to help to see how we can establish this process. Maybe we should establish the official, special interest group or official tab. And then having maybe regular monthly calls with end users where we can just ask them questions, having some sort of interviews, right? And gather the initial feedback on how to use Kubeflow components today. Yeah, any kind of suggestions like or thoughts on this topic?
I think it's great. I think it's a fantastic idea to, have that group of people that connect with end users so we can learn more and, gather feedback. One question I have, I think the group from the CNCF, the dev is all conformed by end users. Are we looking to do the same thing in order to drive this initiative?
Yeah, I think that the problem we don't have sufficient resources to do the same as what CNCF is doing, right? CNCF has like dedicated people who work with end users, right? And
Yeah.
I mean that will be great. I mean, the only like question like do we have a sufficient like what kind of like the low hanging fruit for us like to do something at least for the short term, and then like see how we can transition this to something bigger, right? What CNCF is doing with their advisory boards. Um, Even I think like from my
Yeah.
perspective, even having like monthly regular calls where end users can speak about what they do today with Qflow, what are the challenges, would be really helpful for us, like to talk about. Maybe we should use this community call as, monthly to allocate time for end users. Like, I don't know, like we can definitely discuss some ideas there. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I think it's great. Let me know how can I help. I guess what are the next steps on this? Is it to find people who wants to contribute or
yeah, I think we
because
definitely, so
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so two things, right? It would definitely like if you know some volunteers who can help us, let me know. We can, start the discussion in the channel, in the Slack channel. And also like I would love to see like what CNC, as you said, like what CNCF is doing with their advisory board, right? So explore what is the process, like how they organize those meetings, right? How they I know they have some sessions, the KubeCon, but I don't know all of the details around their technical advisory board, right? So maybe we can learn something from them. To use the same for our community, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been working with some of them so I can connect you. One of the things I know they were trying to push were like reference architectures that are coming from the end users, which gives more opportunity to end users to showcase how they use like Kubernetes and CNCF ecosystem, which could be something that we can do here as well. But I don't know, I can connect you. Let me see if I can connect you with them and maybe, we can have a meeting and learn more from them.
Yeah, I think that's really, really great.
Perfect. But I love this. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may add, Andre, what about also sort of like here, I think that one of the, at least from a working group perspective, the thing that I've seen is trying to get the opportunities to really reach out to end users when they communicate to us. So just a thought is like maybe we can also implement something like an autoresponder or something like a snippet from the GitHub issues when we get it raised on the different repos to let end users or what looks like end users that maybe have a questions about using a component that this advisory board is available. And as well, earlier you were speaking about the installation experience. So if somebody is trying out, I would say vanilla Kubeflow, in other type of distribution, you always have something like a call for action as part of your installation in your terminal. So this is also a great part where you can capture new users that are trying out Kubeflow and they wanted to, have a say as they are sort of like trying out these things.
Yeah, I think these are good ideas. I know like previously we've been doing this survey, right? So Josh, Amber, Stefano was driving those surveys. I think other folks also helping us with it. Surveys definitely help. The problem with GitHub issues like how we can get more exposure, right? We can use, social media, right, to ask end users to comment, right, and ask, answer the questions on a GitHub, right? Um, I just think, so I think we should definitely enumerate all these ideas in some sort of, Google Doc, right? and outreach. I hope like, some folks from outreach team maybe, prioritize them, right? Based on what we can do in terms of the how to build these connections, right? Yeah, because like for TAP, right? So I know for CNCF TAP, right, you have this kind of set of users who on this TAP like for a year, right? I think they go probably, I don't know about elections if they have elections, but those users probably not really changed, right? So advisory board sitting there is the related side. I think they're preparing their reference architectures, right? For Kubernetes and do other discussions. So I think we just need to find what will work for us, right? Uh, in terms of those discussions with end users. But I mean, I agree with you, like in terms of, asking, creating these GitHub issues and asking, the question, like, do you see differences using this approach compared to surveys that we've done before?
Yeah, that is actually what I was about to comment. I think that surveys are great because sort of like you reach out people sort of like from the channel, but that is about people who are already sort of like experienced with Kubeflow from a user point of view, and maybe they do not see a lot of the gaps or the sort of like small details about each component. So I think that in addition to survey, if you wanted to sort of like capture potential new users or really new users and sort of like get some immediate feedback about what they are trying. I think that GitHub issues is like where I've seen people that typically are not, I don't see them say on LinkedIn or on Slack, but I see them on GitHub because they say, hey, I've tried your component. This is the thing that I've seen. So if we have like a snippet of word that we would like to know for these people to know once we say solve the problem, sort of like giving them answer, I think it's a good place. And also it's like earlier we were speaking about you were speaking about sort of like the vanilla experience of installing Kubeflow so that they can try in say this is typical for npm installation. If you run a new model, they will give you like please sort of like how do you say sponsor this project or whatever. Rather than sponsoring here, it will be a call to action to say, hey, now Kubeflow is installed. If you want to have a say, this is your tab that you can reach out to other users and share about what you're looking to do with Kubeflow.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. Yeah, so let's definitely continue this discussion. I think we should definitely start a Google Doc and enumerate a few ideas there. And I will try to I will try to follow up with outreach team to see like who can drive this moving forward. But yeah, I agree definitely with you. All right, any other questions, suggestions maybe for this topic? Mhm.
Awesome. And
Right.
did you want to talk about the SDK?
Yeah, just the last one, right? So we prepared this. I actually, transformed the Google Doc into CAP. And again, the goal of this proposal is to see how we can, create this initial Python SDK to support trainer API and probably, like optimizer API. I cannot say, we have some plans, probably rename some APIs from Katib to optimizer, but this is still under discussion. But the goal is of this SDK is to streamline ML experiences. We discuss all these topics around, like the new working group and other things too. So data scientists can quickly experiment with Kubeflow APIs without knowing anything about Kubernetes, right? So they can just, write their code in Python and then they can use the Kubeflow tools to scale this across multiple machines, right? And do large scale ML using the Kubeflow tools. And we will start just with trainer, but then we will expand this API to support other projects like model registry, fees like pipelines, right? Ksurf probably. I know Ksurf has its own SDK, but we need to discuss it. So this is the first step for us to improve the experience, but it's kind of like a multi-year project moving forward, so we can have a unified interface for data scientists so they can do their work much more effectively and easier from MLE perspective. Yeah, please review this proposal. Let me know if you have any suggestions or comments what we can do for the, initially for the short term. Yeah, but I think looking forward, it's definitely could be a great initiative for us to build a better experience, right, for the end users. At least with our conversation with MLEs and how they want to use those tools, right? All right.
Valentina, did you want to share?
Yes, 1 second. Okay, I'm sending the request. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So hello, everyone. Just wanted to do a quick update on the website. As you know, we are working on the project health, and that means reducing the issues that we have, the PRs as well. So just a couple of great news. So we do have only 1 page of PRs, only a few that are not from this year. So we are working towards, we waited for, the community to work on these PRs, and right now we are moving into just creating new PRs to get those changes that we need on the website, they're updated as soon as possible. So with that, a couple more news is thanks Julius created a PR for stealing the PRs and issues. So what it means is after 90 days, it will be stealing the issues or PRs that haven't had any activity, and that will help us, remind us that we have either to review or to make changes or any add comments or request reviews. So I think that will help us a lot on how to reduce the problem of having too many issues or PRs opened from a long period of time. After a PR or an issue is still after 90 minutes, then 20 minutes after, if nothing happens, that will be closed. So just keep an eye on that. The other thing that we included already was PR template. So we really want to simplify and help the community to create, when you need to create a PR, to have all the information that everyone needs in order to review that PR. So that will help the person who's creating a PR to move faster and try to reduce the back and forths, but also the person who needs to review and approve the PR to have all the information that we need. We are working, so right now, like we have some checks on the PR. We are asking to include a screenshot review that you have signed off your commits, as well as follow best practices and link like to issues if that is related to an issue, as well as add a label into the PR. So the other thing, we are working right now on doing the same for the issues. So there is a PR there. We hopefully will be approved and merged shortly. With this is something that we have discussed with the working groups. The issues that are related to the components, such as, for example, pipelines, are being transferred to the pipelines repository. So if you create an issue on the website, do not worry, you just will see that notification that your issues transfer there. And the idea with this is to help the teams to triage better and faster the issues. So we are looking right now into some automation for that. So just, stay tuned. We are discussing some other solutions into that. Next, how to contribute. So we still have issues to, get work on. So if you have time, or if you're new to the community and want to start contributing, the website is the great place for you. So just look into the issues that are not assigned, that are requiring help wanted, but you can also search for good first issues. These are the information about contributing and community. But also, if you are already part of the community, we do have, as I said, around 19 something PRs that, are waiting there to be reviewed. So some of that will be reviewed, discussed. So the more that you can do, if you can pick like one per week, then that will help us a lot. So with that, just want to thank you everyone for contributing to the website, reviewing PRs, or just creating PRs. And that's all I have, I think, for the website. Stay tuned. The other thing, I'm looking into building things for accessibility and user experience. So if you're interested in contributing those areas, besides the technical part on adding, contributing to the technical content, just let us know. And yeah, that's all I had for the website. Any questions?
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Valentina.
Of course. Now I think the release, right?
Yes, let me share my
Of
screen.
course. Yeah, so Ricardo couldn't make it today. So he led yesterday meeting. We had the release meeting with all the team liaisons from the working groups. So I'm here to provide an update. So this is about the Kubeflow 1.10. So we released RC1 yesterday. We did that work with Julius, so thank you so much. So that is including like the synchronized manifest from different working groups and the web app from the K-serve. So what's next? So as you know, we had to change the plan from the release because, the working groups, some of the working groups needed more time. So the plan is right now to release RC2 on March 3rd. So we want to include notebooks, and then we know Katy is also waiting in 2 PRs, so we can include them. So something to think about, the sooner that we can get, within those components, the better. If we can move that date closer, it will help us to not move the end release date. Right now, we are discussing if we continue, moving it, we may not make it to the date that we were planning on releasing the Kubeflow 1.10, which is the end of March. So yes, so please let us know if you have any updates. We will confirm the date next week. So we will wait this week to see how much progress the teams can make. And then next week, we will provide a final date for the release.
Awesome.
That's all I have.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, thanks everyone. By the way, I want to, thanks everyone. The teams that are working hard on this release, we know it's a lot of work. The platform working group, so much work with the manifest. So thank you as well. And also the liaisons who are meeting with us every week to provide updates, and the team leads as well. So everyone who's been contributing to this, so thank you. And Ricardo as well. He's not here, couldn't make it, but he's been doing a terrific job. So yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, with that, I believe that's all that we had on the agenda. Anybody else have anything they wanted to discuss? Thoughts, opinions, feedback, witty commentary? Awesome. All right. Well, if not, I'm happy to give 14 minutes back to everybody. Cool.
Thank
Thanks, everyone.
you.
Thank you. Yeah. Speak to you
Happy
soon.
Tuesday, everybody.
Bye.